Hey, what is up everyone? Danny and Alex. Today, let's talk about how you should hold pads. All right, a lot of people are watching our channel and they have just started out their journey in Muay Thai training. So it's very important to understand how to hold these things. I've done videos in the past, but I want to do one more. It's great for the algorithm. So guys, check it out. Okay, let's start about me facing the camera just before we start hitting them. Is you want to have loose shoulders and arms when you're holding Thai pads, but you also want to stiffen up at the right moment. That's called timing. So there are two things I'm going to talk about before we hit them. Is number one, proper alignment of your shoulders and arms. All right, so being loose as such, but also knowing when to stiffen up to absorb the impact of these strikes. Number two is going to be your position itself. As the Thai pad holder, you don't want to be standing like this, right? In a neutral stance, parallel feet, right? You're not in proper position now. You want to have that staggered stance, just like when you're throwing the punches yourself. Because when you're holding the Thai pads, absorbing those strikes, or when you're actually the one hitting the Thai pads, it's going to resemble very much the same thing, okay? So by having a proper stance, I'm also applying correct technique for myself, even though I'm holding for Alex. So now we're going to go with the jab and the cross, nice and slow. You're going to push and push. Notice how I want to drive and meet the punch. Okay, so here, left and right. Again, left and right. Now, Alex is slightly shorter than I am, but that happens a lot with different types of students. You're going to have students that are the same height as you as the trainer, maybe shorter or even taller. So you're going to have to adjust. But I always recommend when they first start out to adjust to them. Eventually, the primary concern is going to be for them to adjust to you, because at first you want to help the student who's just starting out so they can punch at their own height for proper technique. But eventually you want to just wipe that away and have them punch at your height, because Alex is going to be fighting me in the ring. I might be taller, so he's not going to be punching like I'm holding pads anymore. My chin is right here, so he has to learn to punch higher. Or maybe I'm a shorter training partner, so he has to learn how to punch against a shorter person as well. So when we throw for the straight punches, when we hold for jab and right, we're going to go like this. One more. All right, this is a classic combination, but you have to learn how to properly hold the pads. Now, let's move on to what we showed in the second video, which was the hooks. All right, so now in the hooks, you want to hold your pads sideways as such. So in front of the camera, these will be the jab and the cross, the straight punches. But on the hooks, it's coming sideways. So I don't want my partner to hit the pad on the side, and that's going to just swing away from my grip. So I want to turn inwards, and he's going to make impact as such. I'm going to push on the inside, and on the right side, it's going to be the same thing. So left hook first, one more, and one more. Bam. And on the right side, notice how I'm meeting the punch, giving him some resistance, but not too much. I don't want to injure my training partner. And I also want to protect myself, so I don't want to keep the Thai pads and my grip all flimsy. So it's really important to hold the pads properly, but the more you do it, the more practice you get, the better you get at it. So now we're going to work on the kicks. Okay, so although we didn't show how to kick in the previous video, I still want to show, because this is a classic technique of Muay Thai, the swing kick or the round kick. And if you don't know how to hold the pads for that, you might injure yourself, or you might even injure your training partner. Okay, so what I want to do is always hold the pads to my side, on the side where his kick is going to be thrown. So in this case, we're going to start with the right leg. So my pads are going to be pointed towards my left, okay, to his right. Okay, so notice every time the kick comes, I get that proper timing and I meet the kick upon impact. One more. So I want to catch the kick, but I don't want to bring the pads all the way down in the case where my pad's going to go through and his kick's going to follow a second after and hit me in the face. So it's very important to, from the side here, if you look at my hands, let's say Alex was here, notice how my pads are from here. Okay, I don't want to bring the pads down. I want to have them here, all right, like my arms are in a V. So when you're holding the pads for the right leg, you want to have loose arms, but that's just as punches, you're going to meet the kick with some impact. Okay, now, last but not least, we have to understand how to hold against his left kick. So Alex is gonna do a switch kick here, and I'm gonna hold the pads here. Okay, so now, a while ago I was turning to my left side. In this case, on his left kick, I'm gonna meet the kick, so I need to turn inside. So if I have this stance, that means there's one side that's the awkward side for a second, but on this side, it's gonna be way more comfortable. Of course, if you're southpaw, it's gonna be the opposite. Now I'm gonna show the left kick once again. So the switch, and one more. Now there's one thing I wanna point out is a lot of people, I've seen a lot of videos on how to hold pads or how people do hold pads, is they hold them tight against each other like this, all right? There's nothing wrong with this, it's just that it gets very uncomfortable very fast, okay? So the proper way to hold pads, if you wanna know, if you wanna look like a seasoned trainer, is to hold them nice and gentle, nice and loose, side by side, almost like in a triangle fashion. What this is gonna do, it's gonna give a wider surface for your athlete, and it's also gonna keep you from burning out your shoulders by keeping everything nice and snug together, okay? So one more time here. And that is how you hold the pads. All right, guys, so there you have it, how to hold the pads. Guys, hope you enjoyed this content. Make sure to subscribe here if you're new, and leave us a thumbs up. Until next time.
We'll see you guys in the next video.
Take care.